Nuclear talks. President Trump's summit with North Korea is now set for Singapore on June 12, following North Korea's release of 3 Americans it held. Has Trump finally brought the Kim regime to heel? Or is this another of North Korea's tricks to extort aid from the West in exchange for empty promises? The good news came, as it often does with President Trump, in a tweet. I am pleased to inform you that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is in the air and on his way back from North Korea with the 3 wonderful gentlemen that everyone is looking so forward to meeting. They seem to be in good health. Also, good meeting with Kim Jong-un. Date: He and First Lady Melania Trump greeted the 3, Kim Dong-chul, Kim Pak-song and Tony Kim, calling them incredible people, with talks now set with North Korea about ending its nuclear weapons program and reintegrating the Hermit Kingdom with the rest of the world. Can Trump count on public support? A new IBD TIPP poll suggests that even before the latest good news, Americans mostly approved of his handling of the North Korea talks. The poll, conducted from April 26 to May 4 from a sample of 900 U.S. adults, showed that 52% either approved somewhat, or strongly, of the way President Trump has handled the situation with North Korea. Of the remainder, 44% disapproved of Trump's efforts, with 24% disapproving strongly. Not surprisingly, the split was mostly along partisan lines. Some 76% of Democrats disapproved of Trump's North Korean efforts, and 92% of Republicans approved. Independents were split, with 48% approving and 47% disapproving. But can Trump pull off a diplomatic triumph in talks with North Korea's Kim Jong-un? There, Americans are a bit more ambivalent in the IBD TIPP poll, with 48% expressing they're somewhat or very confident, and 50% saying they're not very or not at all confident. Once again, Democrats and Republicans split sharply. Among Dems, 77% say they're not confident, versus 87% of GOP members who say they are. Among independents, 43% said they were confident, while 54% said they weren't. So while Trump will largely have the wind of favorable public opinion at his back, he will also face skeptical public opinion at home as well. Given the media's overwhelming and well-documented hostility toward Trump, he can expect any triumph he has to be diminished, and any failure to be magnified and blown out of proportion. North Korea's turnaround. Even so, there seems to have been a remarkable turnaround in North Korea once Trump started playing global geostrategic chess like a 3D chess master. His tariffs on Chinese goods, while perhaps economically dubious, made Xi Jinping see that Trump was serious and not afraid of raising China's ire. Trump knew China is North Korea's patron and main supplier of food and energy, so it has leverage. Kim Jong-un's surprise visit to Beijing last month to consult with Chinese leaders shows that China got the message. China no doubt encouraged Kim to engage the U.S. and South Korea in nuclear talks. But Trump's decision to walk away from the Iran nuclear deal and an earlier decision to put North Korea on the U.S. list of terrorist nations also gave Kim a big nudge. Kim has learned something about Trump. He won't sign a bad deal, he doesn't shrink from conflict, and he's not afraid to act in U.S. interests. Pyongyang has already said it will stop its nuclear tests, launch no more intercontinental ballistic missiles and shut down a nuclear test site, presumably, the one on a remote mountain that collapsed following a recent nuclear test. Even so, if North Korea agrees to end its state of war with South Korea and eliminates its nuclear weapons program, it might have a chance to rejoin the community of nations. Of course, the U.S. should always be wary. North Korea has repeatedly played the U.S. and the rest of the democratic world for patsies. It promises big changes in behavior in exchange for trade and aid, then abandons its promises later. Despite years of talks and multiple agreements, Kim Jong-un's regime, and those of his father and grandfather before him, has continued to develop nuclear weapons. Are these talks just another ruse? Probably not. Kim seems genuinely intimidated by Trump, whose blunt-speaking ways and out-loud military threats have rattled Kim's confidence. He may be desperate for a deal that will leave him in power. As we've said before, we think Kim needs to go. We've heard a lot of talk about a Nobel Peace Prize for Trump. If he can bring peace and denuclearization to the Korean peninsula, he will certainly deserve it, unlike the previous White House occupant, who won a Nobel for doing nothing and left the world largely a mess because of his diplomatic ineptitude. You might also like media bias. Hatred of Trump brings disgraceful fawning over Kim Jong-un's sister at Winter Olympics. North Korea's nuclear threat is here and it's real. Kim Jong-un's regime must go. Putting North Korea on U.S. terrorist list was long overdue. Click here for more commentary and opinion from Investors Business Daily. Want to make more money in the stock market? Start with IBD University.